Hello, so my name is Melanie. I am the future internal coordinator of the Black Cultural Center. This week there were multiple topics, one of which the students helping students book were talking about strategies on how to communicate and how to have effective strategies for speaking to people and problem solving and things like that. I thought was really interesting, very applicable to our future positions as coordinators, because there's going to be times when we're going to be in situations we're going to have to think strategically about what's the best way to problem solve this, or what are the best ways to achieve this goal in this particular aspect, all of which I think are really, really great. There was one in here that I really liked that talked about let's see, formulating a diagnosis. And so one of this was talking about the gap, the hole, and the obstacle. So the gap maybe it's the gap of information, or the gap of knowledge. So not knowing entirely what what you want or what your outcome is going to be. And so here it says a gap potentially could be a lack of acknowledgement about self. And so there's that critical piece rather, where you're talking about what does it mean to be really aware of who you are as an individual, who you are as an activist or an educator or an ally or a coordinator. And so I thought that was really interesting to talk about that individual aspect of problem solving. And then the second part was the whole, so inexperience in an area. And I think, for a majority of us who are in coordinator positions have been active on campus in one way or another. But there are still a lot of unknowns that we have yet to experience about what it means to be a leader or what it means to be in a position such as these. And so I feel like when we go into it, there's going to be a lot that we don't know, and there's going to be a lot for us to learn and to pick up our skills and to adapt into a new environment. So that's really interesting. And then one of the things that I picked up on several segments about tunnel vision with old solutions, need for new possibilities. And so I think this is really really refreshing about every year there's being new coordinators, because you're picking up a new set, a mindset, a new framework about what the center could be potentially. And so every year there's newer ideas, newer possibilities, greater possibilities of the future of the centers. So that's really good. And then the last part of that diagnosis is obstacles, so a barriers you overcome. And so one of the ones that were highlighted was the confusion or conflict with himself. And so this is really important, because even with the work that we do, there's always going to be confusion, there's always going to be barriers that prevent us from, having the ultimate result where everything goes right, or, everything is going to be all perfect. That's just not the reality. A lot of times there's going to be issues in programming and staffing and visibility and activism and different leadership skills and styles. There's always going to be issues there, and it's important for us to realize what those issues are and to problem solve those effectively. And I think ultimately see them as an obstacle that you can overcome. So I think I like this chapter because it talks a lot about the individual aspects that we can do as coordinators. In terms of problem solving and all that wonderful jazz. Let's see what else I like about this. So yeah, on page 138, so there was a section that talks about driving forces to help you maintain or to attain your goals. And so there's 6 driving forces. And so this is really amazing. And I feel like for a lot of us who do, dibble and dabble in different parts of campus and early involved, that it's important to have, goals that are clearly outlined could be attained through the ways in which we, organize ourselves. And so organization is really important. And so to see this kind of laid out as like driving and restraining forces about how you can reach your goals is really important, and that really goes toward problem solving and being able to work within a capacity to achieve the highest standard for our constituents or for our cultural center. And so having these step-by-step action steps, I think, is really important. And I'm definitely going to use this. I mean, there's just so many awesome tips in here that I wish I had my freshman year. Better ones than never, though. Yeah, this was really awesome. When I talked about problem solving outside the box and brainstorming and different designs that are going to be helpful, I thought that was really great. So that's student helping students. And then for the cultural centers and higher education book, this one talks about relationships between American Indians or Native American students in higher education. So it starts off with the needs of Native American students or American Indian students. And so issues around like isolation and transitioning into the university and survival skills and kids and things, social integration with peers and other folks who aren't in the same ethnic background as them is really interesting. And in Oklahoma, there's a huge or a larger presence of Native Americans than a lot of other places in the United States. And so University of Oklahoma, mid-sized public institution, which is a PWI, and there's it's an American Indian student population, which numbers over 1,600. That's 6% of the total population. That's a lot. I think compared to the Native American population that we have at OSU, that is significantly larger than ours. So that's really interesting. And a lot of my sorority sisters are Native American, and the majority of them do go to, University of Oklahoma or Oregon State or Oklahoma State University. Very interesting. Yeah, this was really interesting. This was a shorter chapter, but it was really interesting just to hear about, the different lived experiences in higher education for Native American students across the United States, primarily in Oklahoma. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to share with you all. The question that I have is, I don't know, what did you think about the reading, and what strategy did you want to implement in terms of problem solving or goal setting that was highlighted in the students helping students? Where do you see improvements in the ways in which that you can orientate yourself with goal setting or problem solving? And then which ones have you excelled at? So if you want to answer any of those questions, that would be really awesome. Well, I shall see you on class very, very soon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.